Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do the Boogeyman issue number 3 from Ablaze Comics, made by Mathieu Salvia and Djet. So yeah, let's dive in. In the last issue, Father Death, I mean that's what people call him, is getting attacked by a couple of kids. Well, how do you say, Boogeyman kids? I mean, the problem, well, let's leave it. It's not really a problem, what I'm trying to say. It's more like there's all boogeyman, but none of them has really a name, because, there's so many, and they're all or good guys or they're bad guys. Now, for instance, he's getting attacked here, and then he fights back, but then he's being outclassed. He's weakened also because, lack of food or something like that. But then the boogeyman of the bridge, let's call him that, is coming to this man's rescue. And so, hey, he says, "This is my bridge. You've got no business being here." I guess you haven't heard. There are no rules anymore. So, and then before they can say anything, he is a no-nonsense guy, and he sends his creatures of the dark, if you can say it, his nightmares, and these guys are being ripped to shreds, which is pretty cool. And then they also starting to eat the little sisters. Now, for those who don't know what that are, I made 2 videos before. I explained a little bit there, so check that out and subscribe to my channel and all that jazz. But so this boogeyman from the bridge, he says it's only been a few decades old, and it's already has no respect. Talking about these kids here. And is it so hard to ask permission? You and your nightmare, talking about the dog, had better go and you recuperate. They attacked us first. We have the right to eat them. That's the rule. But then the kid here says, but those are little sisters. The bad guys, they were full of little sisters. So yeah, so the boogeyman of the bridge explains, good thing too, considering all the elders they scared down, those bastards. But I thought they came from humans, from the dark thoughts and all that. Original, yeah, of course. That's where we all came from. Fears, frustrations, violence. We all have the choice. We all start out simple. It's in the eating each other that they become more complex, gain strength until they become nightmares. And it's by consuming to eat that that some of nightmares become boogeymen themselves. I like that. I like that. That's a cool, interesting. I mean, these little sisters are being born from the fears and from people, and then they are manifesting into something else. It's been, normally it's been growing inside you, like a depression, right? Like fear, like anxiety, for instance. So I like that the writer has turned that specific fear and anxiety and depression that a lot of us were going through, and maybe still some of you are. I mean, fear is in everybody. You cannot put that away indefinitely. And they turn it into something more, visually, right, here on this page. And so this is some kind of a cycle. They're eating each other until they are growing stronger and stronger and even turn into boogeymen themselves. They become top of the food chain, right? They become real. He said, at this stage, normally we respect one another. We stop acting like animals and eating our neighbors. Collecting little sisters and exploiting nightmares in our own area is enough. But in the end, when everything collapses and we kick the bucket, we always go back to the basics. A bunch of little sisters. Well, that's cool. And so that guy also explains that that there are no elders anymore, and because Father Death wants to know who they are. He really doesn't know, but it seems that at some point, a couple of lower boogeymen went after the elders because the elders are full of little sisters. So that means they don't have to hunt for lower prey. So if they eat the higher prey, they get a lot of, these little sisters, right? Because that's their food source. And but before other elders can stop these lower boogeymen, it was too late, and then somehow everybody did that, and there are almost no elders anymore. Yeah, because they are rabid boogie. I just blank what I'm trying to say, but they are just rabid monsters eating each other. Anyway, so he says nobody really knows where they're able to do it. Basically, they are also. I forgot to tell you that the other elders are very fast to find lately, and nobody knew how that was possible because normally they don't have some kind of a radar on them or technology. But some of them think that the boogeyman is, trying to manipulate and certain policemen and using their human technology to find them. But that's a little bit of a stretch. Anyway, moving on. So he says, that's all I know. Sorry, you better go before others come. He says, and you, fuck those little shits. This is my home. And so Father Death says to this boy, says, hey, we got... the boy says, are you taking me to the police? No, but we have to go to the city. There is someone that can help us. And you need money just in case. And I must say, I love the art, but sometimes it's a little bit too dark and too drab for my taste when it comes to colors. I mean, sometimes there is some nice art in here, but since the color palette is always the same, except for this part, it's all being blurred with the same kind of colors. Which is a shame because the book itself, it's fun. It's not really the best, but it's a fun read. Anyway, so he's here at a pawn shop, and got some slippery fingers here. And he goes inside and he sells stuff from, I believe this is called Elliott or Billy. I'm forgetting his name. He says, you don't have the right. It's not yours. It was my parents. You stole from them. They don't need it anymore. You do. Yeah, he is just taking stuff from the parents because they're an issue when his parents was killed, and now the boogeyman is now taking care of him. And so the boy is very emotional, and he says, that's not true. I don't need money. I don't need anything. You need to go to eat and sleep. And he says, hey, you need to bring me to the police station. You promised that. And the boogeyman says, no, they don't follow any rules. The police can't protect you. So he's getting a little bit angry. And he said, you can't either. And under the bridge, you weren't even able to stop the two monsters. And you didn't even try to save my parents. I hate you. You hear me? I hate you. And then he breaks out in tears. And this is a very powerful shot, in my opinion, about a boy that lost everything and has been thrown into some kind of a feud that he has no place in, but he's been dragged into anyway, and his life is in danger, and he cannot take it anymore. It's really well done. I like this a lot. Poor guy. Anyway, so the boogeyman says, or Father Death, no matter what you think of me, I may be a monster, but I am not like them. So they are, but then we go to the bad guys because, hey, do you know this guy from under the bridge? Well, it seems that the bad boogeyman found him. And so this guy says, ooh, 2 elders in one evening. Since when does that happen? And so the good boogeyman is starting to laugh. He said, hey, don't you know who you are chasing? It's Father Death. And so this guy says, oh, no one told him, guys. And he just pulls his eyes out. It looks cool. Father Death doesn't exist anymore, old fool. There is only me. So this guy's a goner. Probably is going to be eaten by this guy too. But we don't see that. But Father Death is, on the brink of collapsing. He's weakened. And he says, I just need to rest a little. We need to find cover. And then they are, going from place to place. And they are going into some kind of diner. And he's been watched, or they are being watched by these boogeyman ravens. I don't know, they don't have a name. Anyway, let's call them nightmares. So, and he also can influence this woman or people because of their fears and their desires, but he cannot make, doing stuff that they don't want to do. So basically he says, take your tip and go read your magazines behind the counter without asking any questions. And so this boy says, hey, why can't you do other things? Well, he just explained that here. Also, he is also training this nightmare dog because he's now the wild dog is now a monster or is a monster, and Elliot or Billy or whatever his name is thinks that he can train him, and so he has some kind of a pet book from his parents on training dogs, and he also showed him to this boogeyman, and so the boogeyman says, in my opinion, he's eating your treats out of greed, and it won't stop him from tearing apart the next little sister he comes across, or the next nightmare. He's too violent. I already told you it's in his nature. He won't change now. And the young boy says, all dogs can change, even the wildest ones. It says so in my book. You just need to be patient and trusting. I like that. There's a lot of, I don't know, some cool banter here. And you can see this boy is really a nice, uncorrupted person that is very happy to have a dog, like most boys or girls and girls, and he's very dedicated to train this dog and become his friends. I like that a lot. I also like that from this point of view there is no boogeyman here because only the boy can see him, so there is none here, although he just speaks to thin air. But of course he is here, and this shot looks pretty cool too, right? Look at this. And so he asked talked to Father Death about battling the evil boogeyman, but it means he needs to eat little sisters. And so, do you think you can beat the others? Maybe, but I don't know if I'm able to control myself. He says, what do you mean? The little sisters, they make me want to do bad things, and I don't want to do it anymore. Like asking someone to kill me, and he doesn't say anything. Like I said, you talk too much. So they go outside, but then all these ravens are here attacking this elder, this boogeyman, and he says, take the kid and get him far away from Ionara. He's screaming to the dog. So the dog takes him. Well, he is getting attacked by these hordes of nightmares. And that's the end of the book. Again, it looks great, especially this scene. This looks really cool from this top side that he's being attacked. Unfortunately, it's not really unfortunately. This is, a nice 10-minute time waster. Yeah, let's call it that. A nice 10-minute time waster. Why not? On to the next one, guys. See you next time and see you later. Bye-bye.